In this video we're going to look at how we can use the sine rule to find two possible solutions for an angle given a certain amount of information about a triangle. So in this case there's actually going to be two different values that A can have, although initially it can be quite easy to miss one. So if we set this up as we would do a normal problem, then we know that sine of 20 over 7 is equal to sine of A over 8. So I'm going to see what happens if I solve this for A. So sine of A is equal to 8 sine 20 over 7. So A equals arc sine of 8 sine 20 over 7. So I'm going to evaluate that on a calculator. So arc sine of 8 sine 20 over 7, and that gives me 23.0 degrees, and that looks fine. I found an angle for A, I've used the sine rule, so why is there a second solution? How are we supposed to find it? Well, if we look back at the diagram for a minute, let's look at what information is given. We're given this angle is 20, this length is 8 and this length is 7. But it could be that actually the length of 7 is like this. So if A is between the 7 centimetre side and the unmarked side, then that would make this angle A. So if this angle is A and this angle is A as well, how can they have different values? Well, if we just look at this part of the triangle, which wasn't there originally, we can see it's actually isosceles because we've got a length of 7 each. So if this angle is A, this angle must be equal to that. And so then we've got angles on a straight line. A must be 180 subtract this angle. So one of the possible answers for A was 23, but a second answer is 100 subtract 23, which is 157 degrees. Another reason to think about it is if you're familiar with the sine curve, then you'll be familiar with the fact that it's symmetrical, and sine of 23 is equal to sine of 157, and there we go. Okay, so question 2, we're going to go through much the same situation here. So let's set up our initial problem. So we can say that sine of 35 over 7 is equal to sine of A over 10. So sine A is equal to 10 sine 35 over 7. So that A is equal to arc sine of 10 sine 35 over 7, and I can evaluate that on my calculator. So arc sine of 10 sine 35 over 7 gives me 55.0 degrees. So again, my second solution is going to be 180 subtract that, so 180 subtract 55, which is 125 degrees. So I've got my two solutions for A, and we can just see my first solution. I should have probably made it a bit clearer. There are the two solutions there as well. So how do we know whether or not we're looking for one solution or two solutions? Well, if the first angle you find is larger than the angle given in the question, then there will be a second angle to find as well. So in example 1 here, we were given an angle of 20, we evaluated an angle at 23, and we had a second angle, one of 157, to find as well. On question 2, we initially were given an angle of 35 degrees, and we found an angle of 55, and that led to a second solution of 125. So when you're using the sine rule, if the first value you find is larger than the one given in the question, you need to be looking for a second solution. in an exam you can often pick it up from the way it's written as well, because it will sometimes say find the values plural of A, or solutions. So quite often there's little clues to help you out as well.